Now, bringing you the very best in New Hampshire-based local music on IPMNation.com and 100.1 The Planet, this is Local Outbreak. How are you? Welcome.
I'm doing well. Thank you. How are you?
Good, good. Am I saying your last name correctly?
It's Beachard.
Oh, it's Beachard. I was saying Beachard, I think. I'm sorry.
It has French roots. You're close.
I'm close. And you are how do you describe what you do? A promoter primarily?
Yep. So I'm a promoter and a booking agent putting on live shows.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, actually, we're going to play something in a little bit that you had sent. This band, House Lights. This is really good.
Thank you.
I love this track, Love and Understanding. Now, are they someone that you work with on a regular basis? Or?
Yeah, we go way back. For anybody that's been in New Hampshire for 15, 20 years, started out around Milford as Horns Become Halos. Same group of guys.
Oh, okay.
Just we've kind of evolved over the years.
Yeah.
That'll be a full story for another day. We'll have the band on the show once the album comes out.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, we've been able to stick together, and just Matt, the main guy who writes most of the music, and myself have, we work really well together.
Are you in the band or do you?
Yep. I do lead vocals on the track. So.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that. Okay, I thought it was just someone you managed or booked.
Nope.
Oh, awesome. So that's you on there. Oh, fantastic.
Yep. Yeah, I'm in two bands currently, House Lights and then Astronomist is my other band.
Oh, I gotcha.
We're working on an EP, just didn't have anything ready for the show today to play on the air. But
Okay. Yeah, so you do it all then. So you're a musician and you do the business as well. Yep. Excellent. That's part of why I wanted to talk to you too, why I was looking forward to this discussion today, because I kind of have a similar background. I don't play anymore. Mm-hmm. I used to play in a lot of bands, but I also did, promoted a lot of shows and did a lot of, booking and some artist management and all that kind of stuff. So, and I always found that, to me, it's all interesting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I think most musicians really would like to not have to do any of the business part of it. They want to just focus on making the music, but I think it's but for whatever reason, the way my brain is wired, and maybe you're the same way, I just think it's all fascinating. Mm-hmm. And I not that there's anything quite like being on stage, but you know what I mean.
Oh yeah, that's the goal, to get back on stage. But in the meantime, I figured I could help other people realize those dreams as well.
Yeah,
because like you said, there's no better feeling if you're a musician, being on stage in front of tons of people that know your music, rocking out, singing along.
Oh yeah.
It's a high unlike any other. So
absolutely. Let's go ahead and play this for everybody.
Right.
And I'm anxious to hear it again. This track, House Lights, and I'm sorry, the band is House Lights. The track is Love and Understanding. And anything you want us to know about this before we listen to it, about this song?
So it's this album that we're coming out with. It's probably just going to be self-titled. We've been working on it last kind of year plus. Matt for a lot longer. He approached me a couple of years ago with the music, and it's kind of like, okay, we're gonna start this up again and give it another go.
Okay.
The only thing I'll say is just this album in particular was pretty personal to me. As far as the lyrics, I wrote probably 90% of the lyrics for the album. And, we can get a little bit more into that after we hear the song. But, just it's a lot about, personal experiences and kind of what I try to promote in my daily life and more that I wish out of society, I guess we'll say.
Okay. Cool. All right, let's give this a listen. So this is Love and Understanding is the song, and the track. The band is House Lights. You know what it's 87 degrees, and it's not even the middle of April, and it's just messing with me in every way possible, physically, mentally. It's nuts. So yeah, this is Love and Understanding. The band is House Lights. Check this out. This is really good. The band is House Lights, and from House Lights, we have here at the news desk, Sam Beachard is with us. How are you, Sam?
Doing great.
Welcome to the show today.
Thank you.
Have you been here before, by the way? Have you been in this building before?
I have not.
It's it's wild, isn't it? Because you would never know, like from the outside, you would never know there was a radio station up here.
Yeah, very, very indiscriminate door.
Yes. It's very, it's like we're sort of tucked away, but which is kind of nice. But it is a beautiful day out, of course, in downtown Manchester. It's hot. It was 87 degrees when I came in, and it seems like every year I feel like we get that first blast of summer weather a little bit earlier than the year before. And it just keeps going. And I like the heat, but it worries me a little bit too. You know what I mean? But so Sam is here. Looking forward to talking with him. So are you a summer guy, Sam?
No.
No?
It's the humidity. The humidity that gets me. And, just hits 75, and I can't even sit without starting to sweat.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of the opposite. I like the heat. I don't like the cold.
Yeah.
Although the cold bothers me less than it used to. But I like spring. I really like summer. I don't like fall because of what it leads to. Mm-hmm. You know, the trees are nice and everything with the foliage. But yeah, it feels like, I don't know what it's supposed to be like tomorrow if this is supposed to last. But boy, I'll tell you, it showed up quickly this year.
Yeah.
But so tell me more about that track. I love that song. Love and Understanding, the band House Lights, one of your bands. Well, what can you tell us about that? I'm particularly curious to know, and I'm a bit of a geek this way. I love to hear about the process of recording songs because I'm older, and when I was growing up, it was, basically your options were, well, of course, if you were in a big band, you go to $1 million studio, and if you're in a little local band, you find a cheaper studio to go and record at. But we live in an era now where you've got so many options as far as how you record. So I'm really curious to know more about that and anything else you can tell us about that track.
Yeah. So the whole album is recorded right here in Manchester, self-produced.
Excellent.
So Matt is the lead guitarist for the band, writes pretty much all of the music for the band.
Okay.
And so he has all of that just re-recorded, demos that stuff at home, and then we get to come in and hear it and kind of lay down our parts. Our drummer, shout out Adam Susi, he's a Berkeley boy. He's pretty much the most. I jokingly say he's the most successful. He's a touring drummer and session drummer for a ton of bands around the area.
Oh, cool.
People listening probably have heard his name. He plays with a lot of different acts.
Yeah.
Around Boston and everything.
Okay.
So he's always drumming. And he's amazing.
Yeah.
He laid down some killer drum tracks in his home studio. Sent them over to us and got them put together. And then we were looking for someone to mix the tracks. Obviously, none of us have a lot of experience in that.
Yeah.
And, again, the advent of technology and the internet, we went to Sound Better, and we found we had a lot of bids, actually. So Sound Better is a website where artists can post their music, and engineers will bid on
I didn't know about
mixing
this.
and mastering. It's an incredible website.
Wow.
So we actually found a guy, Augustine Pugh, out of a Studio Dookie in Argentina. Who is mixing our album for us. And the mixes are coming out incredible. His prices are incredibly reasonable, and he's taken all of our feedback and just made magic.
Wow.
He's amplified the songs. He's had some input on his end too of we're a little bit, liberal with it. Hey, if you got something that sounds good, you think would be, help the song,
sure,
send it over to us and we'll check it out. And if we like it, we'll roll with it.
Yeah.
So that he's made the process, very, very, easy and comfortable.
Yeah.
And just, he's quickly developing into another part of our project, somebody that I could definitely see us working with again in the future.
It sounds like it's so often it just sort of happens by accident where someone is engineering or mixing, but they become sort of a de facto producer in the process of that.
Yeah, you get somebody that's more of an objective observer. They're detached from the music a bit, so they can pick out these things that you might be fighting for that are just they only mean something to you, but don't necessarily serve the music.
Yeah.
Honest, objective feedback is always great, and I offer it to any bands ever. Obviously, Novakoi. you had in here a couple months back.
Yep.
Matt and Ty from Strange Attractions Booking. Obviously, they're in Novacoy. We've become good friends, and they've been helping me along with the booking stuff a little bit as well.
Cool.
So it's standing offer. Any musicians, any bands out there that if you guys need objective, constructive feedback from an open-minded person. I listen to pretty much every genre.
Yeah.
And I enjoy pretty much every genre. So
cool. Cool.
Just reach out.
Excellent. Now, so Sound Better, because I was not aware of this website. So you musicians post, what do you post when you're looking for someone to bid on your work as far as mixing? Like what do you post, like demos, or how does that work?
Yeah, you post like a 30 second, minute long clip, or links to if you have stuff already on Spotify or Bandcamp or SoundCloud.
Yeah.
You can send the links over to the engineer. They'll take a listen, and then they can bid if it's something they think fits, or if they want to add that style to their portfolio.
But how do you when you send things to the engineer for them to decide if they want to bid? How does that initial connection happen? Do you put your stuff on the site, and then prospective engineers will see it? Or how does the connection happen?
Yeah, so Matt is the one that handled most of that.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know 100%, but I just know that I think we did a little bit of reaching out. Just pinged a few people like, hey, we're interested in some mixing services or mastering services.
Yeah.
And then you kind of post your link to, I think it's like a message board
kind
of thing. And then the engineers can go on and search it.
Yeah.
And if they are interested, they send a message out directly to you.
Okay.
And then you kind of work out the details.
That's really cool. I'll have to look at. I mean, I don't have anything to post or need mixed, but I'm going to look at that site later just out of curiosity, because that's a great idea. That's a great concept.
Yeah, and there's a lot of them like that. Obviously you got, for artists, you have Fiverr now, which is a big one.
Yeah.
That people can go on and even have people make songs for them. Or produce stuff. So there's almost anything you can think of. You can find it.
Yeah. Do you know if I understand? So Matt handled that part of the process, but do you know if other mixers or engineers bid?
Yeah. Oh yeah. So any ones that came back to us, Matt and Bobby, who does the scream vocals in there.
Yeah.
I do the cleans for House Lights.
Okay.
Working on getting into more types of vocal, working on my extreme vocal, as they have been called, but haven't done any for that project yet. But yeah, so Matt and Bobby and I would talk over. Matt would field the requests and kind of send them out to us. We'd have group chats and stuff, and this person's offering this much, and here are their references, who they've worked with. And, so we definitely did our research. We had a certain certain style that not everyone can handle.
Sure.
It's a bit different. We don't want to sound generic. We don't want to sound, cookie cutter.
Yeah.
So we wanted somebody that was going to be excited, to work with us. And so I don't know if it's always the case, but Augustine actually did some free demo work for us when we were initially trying to find out who we wanted. So he did a whole minute mix for two different songs, and sent them back to us for free, no charge.
Yeah.
It's if you guys want to continue, this is what the price would be. And
that's really cool.
Yeah,
that's a great resource. Wow. JFed is asking in the chat, and he I don't know if you've heard many of the other interviews, but he asked this question of everybody. He's got his wife's birthday is coming up in September, so he wants to know, do you play birthday parties?
Well, so with both of my projects, so House Lights, again, we're finishing our full-length album, but we are still actively looking for a second guitarist. We haven't played any of this music live together yet. Yeah. So we wanted to finish on the music, get it all done, and then build out our live show. Yeah. So House Lights, unfortunately, it would not be. It'd be hard pressed to be ready for that time frame. Yeah. And then with Astronomist, kind of same thing. I just joined Astronomist back in November, December. Oh, okay. They were just starting to form the project. They're from kind of middle central Maine area. Okay. But I heard them posting some stuff on Facebook, came across them one day, and they were looking for a vocalist, and I really dug their music. So I was like, gave a few months because I was just super busy with stuff.
Yeah.
And it was still open, and I'm like, whatever, I'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
And so threw a demo together for them on one of their songs that they sent over, and the rest is history. So we're working on an EP right now.
Oh, cool.
Pretty much the band is fully formed, but again, still very early stages. So unfortunately, I can't help you with the birthday parties for this year, but maybe next year we can talk.
So his next question was, what if I play guitar for you?
I mean, depending on my availability, I would always come and do some covers, just me and somebody. I unfortunately am not a musician. I used to play bass in bands. I would not call myself a good bassist.
Really? Yeah.
Passing, kind of picked it up because they needed one.
Yeah.
Back in the day. But vocals have always been my passion, and I'm happy to now have the chance to do that for bands and focus my attention on that.
Yeah.
So, I've been working with a vocal coach, and I've added an extreme vocal coach as well.
Okay.
I'm just, pushing myself to get the best vocal that I can.
That's interesting to me. So you have a vocal coach, and then so you have someone else you've just started working with to get that, to be able to. I always hear. I've heard a lot of singers talk about. There's a DVD, although now it's probably just you can find the video online of. I think it's called Is it the Art of Screaming?
The Zen of Screaming.
Oh, the Zen of Screaming.
Melissa Cross. Oh yeah.
Yes.
That came out way back when I was in high school, middle school, high school. Me and my buddies all knew about that. Checked it out. A lot of the bands that we liked were going to Melissa Cross. She was kind of one of the first pioneers of the extreme vocal coaching. If you will. And she has her own method. So there's a bunch of different methods, and there's, the main types are sort of false chord and fry scream, which a lot of the industry doesn't necessarily like those terms, but those are just terms that people have given to them. So that's kind of how people identify them.
Yeah.
So those are kind of the two main types of extreme vocal, which is how they're known kind of as a broader category.
Let me ask you this, because I've always been kind of fascinated by it, and I'm not a singer myself. I mean, I can sing. The only thing I can really do as far as a vocal, I can do backing vocals. I've done backing vocals in bands, and I'm actually not a bad harmony singer. I seem to have an ear for being able to find the octave and kind of lock in where I need to. On my own, though, I get lost. I could never be a lead singer. But I've always been fascinated by. So with the extreme singing, is the biggest part of it just learning how to do it safely?
Yes.
Because obviously, I mean, if you do that wrong, you could really, you could shred your vocal cords, right?
Yep. And a lot of people have.
I bet, yeah.
A lot of people, even going to Melissa Cross and any of those other schools, it's very easy to.
Yeah.
There's a lot of famous musicians that have had multiple vocal surgeries because they, either are not following the technique properly or just, in the moment they push too hard.
Yeah.
It's definitely all about technique. Once you have technique, and in technique plus breath control, seems to be the magic key to unlock all those doors. Once you have those two things, it's going to take a lot of time.
Yeah.
But you can at least make those sounds. And once you know how to make those sounds, then you can start to, develop and find your own sound within the technique.
Is there still, even if you're doing it safely, is there still, I would imagine, some risk of long-term damage if you're just singing that way a lot on a consistent basis? Am I wrong?
I certainly wouldn't claim to be an expert to speak on that. I don't know that anybody really is.
Yeah.
I don't know. Famously, obviously, Will Ramos is one of the most from Lorna Shore is one of the most famous extreme vocalists at this current time.
Yeah.
And they did the YouTube video, the laryngoscopy of Will Ramos. They actually put a camera down his throat and had him scream while it was in there.
Really?
To see the movement of the vocal cords.
Interesting.
And see if they could figure anything out.
Oh wow.
It's just really, as long as you follow that technique. I mean, so far for me, like using the technique and the breath control that I've learned, I can kind of just sit there all day and
no kidding
do it.
Because you don't get a sore throat or anything or anything.
No,
excellent.
That was the most important part when I went to my extreme vocal coach when I was looking for one.
Yeah.
I identified, okay, who in the scene is doing this, and what other abilities do they have. So I found someone that has amazing cleans, as well as really, really like super technical, gnarly screams.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, okay, well, if this guy's been doing this for as long as he has, he probably knows something.
Right.
And he's an established vocal coach as well. Been doing it for years. So.
Oh, excellent. Excellent.
So shout out to Mr. Blegg, Kyle Farrar. He's in Late Nine, a few other bands out of the Boston area.
Oh, okay.
So go check out his stuff. He's amazing.
Cool. Now you write most of the lyrics. Is that what you said? In the band?
So for the most part, you know, Matt handles most of the music.
Okay.
And then I'll come in. I'll do a draft of lyrics. You know, if there's any that I'm not kind of catching a vibe on or getting inspiration on, you know, then Matt and Bobby will kind of sit down and work through those. You know, or for some of Bobby's parts, you know, definitely like, I'm like, okay, you know, I have an idea here, but I'm not the one who's actually screaming these parts.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So, you know, if there's any particularly challenging parts, they'll kind of sit down and write it. And then, you know, we'll get together and go over any corrections or, you know, even as we're recording, we'll go, okay, it doesn't sound the way we thought it was going to.
Right.
So we'll, you know, do a little session and, you know, oh, this word doesn't work as well in this part. You know, we don't like the flow. We don't like the, you know, the meter of the phrasing or whatever. Mm-hmm. So we'll change it up a little bit. But yeah, for the most part, you know, I would say like, you know, do 80 to 85% of the drafts become final lyrics for the songs.
And you had mentioned for that song "Love and Understanding," you had mentioned there was more to say about the lyrics to that. They were very personal to you, and
you know, and really for, you know, anyone that has experienced loss, which is most of humanity. You know, if you're in tune to that and you spend time, you know, dissecting your thoughts and trying to better understand grief and loss and everything that comes along with it. You know, a lot of that was sparked more in me last year. You know, had a really tough death of one of my friends very prematurely. And it was, you know, I've been playing in the scene for a long time and been wanting to, you know, do promotion, and I get a good sense of joy and accomplishment from helping and serving others. Yeah. So I figured, you know what, like, you know, why am I waiting? You know, all the cliches, you only live once, or, you know, your life's too short, whatever you want to say, but it's true.
Yeah.
You know, those are cliches because they're as
true
as they are, because
right.
they come back again and again.
Yeah.
So I said, I'm done waiting. You know, I'm going to jump into this and, you know, put my energy into creating something positive, you know, using those energies that are inside of me that are battling every day, and saying, I'm going to do something good. Yeah. You know, instead of being overcome by any of that sadness or that grief, I'm going to do something good. Yeah. And I'm going to help people, you know, realize their dreams, achieve my dreams. You know, I like to say, if one of us succeeds, we all succeed together. Yeah. And that's true of the scene right now. You know, very, very happy to be part of the local scene, New Hampshire, New England. Things are popping off again, and it's awesome.
Oh, there's so much great talent around here. Absolutely. But yeah, I always say, and you know, this will sound cliche, but it's true that, you know, if you can take anything negative, you know, grief or whatever it is, and like you said, it's something we all, you know, it's universal. Everyone can relate to it. You know, anytime you can take a negative experience or negative feelings, trauma, whatever, and do something positive with it, do something productive with it, that's the best therapy, you know, possible, you know, and because partly because not only are you creating something, but also because it's not only helping you, it's helping other people who can take something from what you do, you know, which is wonderful. And that's great. You know, you help others with, tell me more about the promotions, part of things.
Yep. So back in October, I filed for, you know, my business application. So I am an official booking business, Always Forward Events. You can find me Always Forward NH on pretty much Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all the socials. Still learning a lot of the socials. Got to get better at content. But I mean, my main mission is to bring the scene together, you know, by providing more kind of mid-range venues for bands to play. Yeah. I mean, you know, back in the day, obviously I was playing in the scene, and you know, a lot of times it's you're breaking your back to play bars for 10 people, you know, playing backyard shows, playing basements, which is great. And there's a lot of bands that thrive in that scenario, and the DIY scene is definitely alive again.
Yeah.
And it's a necessary part.
Oh yeah.
But I'm trying to, there's a lot of people that are doing that part of it. So I'm trying to hit a market where, trying to get into those 150, 300, 500 seat venues.
Sure.
Where normally they're booking, they're big enough or they're equipped to book regional or national acts sometimes, but getting the local bands that stage time. Bringing them, out of the basements a bit, and trying to get them to a broader audience.
Yeah.
And just, I know, the times I got to play theaters and, big event spaces back in the day, it was awesome. You're like, okay, like now we're talking. Like, So and just bringing people around that, getting the word out about local music and, trying to help people realize their dreams.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting how things have changed. And, it's kind of, some of it's, in some ways, I think all of this is more challenging, and in some ways it's easier. And I think it probably kind of balances out. I think it may be a wash, but there was a time when, it's always been hard. Like if you're a local band or a solo artist and you're, especially if you're in the early stages of your career and you don't really have much of a following and you're trying to get out there. Obviously it's very challenging. And I think that over time, what has happened is, as like you referred to social media, now we're in an era, like I think back to when I started in the scene, and now my involvement in the scene now is really interviewing people in the scene. I don't play in a band currently, and really wouldn't have time to. But I feel like now it's so I think there's a larger challenge, and it's all been brought on by the internet. So the part that I think is harder, just from my perspective, and again I'm sort of on the outside looking in, the part that's harder is you're competing with so much more than you were before social media and all the streaming services and all of that. Because, before you were competing with everybody else in the scene. You might have a show somewhere and somebody else has a show, and, you're trying to get people to go to your show. Now you're competing with Netflix, and you're competing with somebody who, maybe somebody just wants to watch TikTok videos, or they're streaming on Twitch or whatever it is. You're competing with so much more now, more than ever. On the other hand, because of social media and other elements of the internet, it's also easier than ever to promote what you do and to market what you do. Because, back in the day, it was, I remember specifically getting yelled at by police here in Manchester for stapling flyers to a telephone pole. You know what I mean? And we've all either been there or watched it happen to other people. And of course, today, if I were actively promoting a show, it wouldn't even occur to me to bother. You know what I mean? Why would I even bother stapling a flyer to a telephone pole? I'm going to, post something online. So I think it's on one hand, there's more that you're competing with than ever, but at the same time, because of that, there's also more opportunities than ever to promote what you do. So if you can find a way to cut through all the noise, if you can actually, if you do it right, you can build a fan base pretty quickly if you do it right, if you figure it out. Which it sounds like you've done to some extent. I mean, you've had some success, so it's always a slog, but but you're making it happen.
Yeah, again, it's. I guess I should definitely be happy too, because I just started in October, and to have the success that I've had so far has been really great. I definitely need to find a way to get to more non-band members. Right. Those connections are amazing. And obviously, I've got tons of bands that are looking for shows, and without them, obviously I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing.
Right.
But at the same time, they're not necessarily paying to go to a show every weekend. They're playing a show, or they're practicing, or they're working their actual job and trying to get paid. Because, again, local musicians don't really get paid. It's another thing that I'm trying to change. Definitely bit off a little more than I could chew early on. My first few shows, I was paying bands out of my pocket
Oh,
and had to, book the venue and all that stuff. So that was a good learning lesson for me and for anyone else who's thinking of doing it. As much as you want to go from 0 to 120, it's not sustainable. Unless you're going to get the people in the door.
Right.
So, if you're going to take a risk, try to make sure that it's the least risky risk you can take, that you're going to get a band that's going to draw, a lot of people.
Yeah.
So kind of dialed things back and looked at my business practices and again, took it as a learning experience and said, okay, I got to modify things for now to get myself in a better position to start building that momentum. And then, then identify a point where make that the target is eventually I'll be able to give bands guarantees again.
Yeah.
Or I might be able to target, a regional act coming through on a tour or something and get some locals on it. That definitely seems to be more of the move right now. Doing a lot of business research and trying to figure out where I'm gonna make the most impact.
And so much of being an entrepreneur, whether it's in the music industry or in anything really, is it unfortunately involves losing money.
Yeah.
But Jay Fed says in the chat room, sounds like you should do birthdays.
How much you paying, Jay Fed?
I don't know if he'll pay you, but I do know this. Are you interested in getting into an ice bath? Because
today I would be.
Because he's very into the ice bath.
Okay.
He didn't ask that question yet, but that question always comes up too. He posts on Facebook every day. He's in an ice bath and he loves it. Wouldn't be for me. I'd be worried about hypothermia, but apparently it's very healthy.
Yeah.
I guess
I have heard as much. Yes.
It's a healthy thing to do, but it wouldn't be for me. We've got Sam Beachard is with us. What came first for you? The creative aspect of it, being a musician, or wanting to promote, or
definitely music. I started back in high school, really. I think I was 14, 15, 16. Started in some local bands. So Horns Become Halos. I met Matt in college, and we started playing together. And then I had another band that was my first high school band. We were Killbird, Shadows Break Us, Obruo, bunch of different names, couple different vocalists.
Shadows Break Us is a cool name.
Thank you. Funniest part about that is that through all of our iterations, no one in the band ever not everyone liked the name at any,
Right.
That was always our joke, was like, okay, like 4 out of 5 would be good with it. But then there would be one person that's like, that name's so stupid. Why do you guys like that?
Oh, wow.
So, and, we kind of been playing off and on too. It's more of like a hard rock, experimental kind of metal inspired, inspired band.
Yeah.
So we played a lot in Manchester back in the day, played Rocco's, played Millie's,
Oh.
those places were around.
Jeez, yeah.
Way backs.
We may have crossed paths at some point. We probably
Totally
did, because I played all those places, and Rocco's. I remember vividly the wall of mirrors.
Yeah.
What a weird thing that was.
Yep. But I mean, again,
but it was cool. I mean,
a lot of the bands that grew up in that time are now back in the scene.
Yeah.
And they're that with the rebirth of the scene, they have new projects out. They're reviving old projects, or some of them have been still going. There's a handful of bands that I see that are coming back to the area that's like, oh, wow, like you guys were playing 15 years ago, when the scene blew up, and you're still doing it. They hung on somehow. So
I've run into that where bands that I would consider kind of my peers in terms of just they were like really active at the same time I was really active, where I'll see something on social media and I'm like, oh, they're still playing.
Yeah,
I didn't know that, or they had gotten back together, and it's kind of funny. It's like I saw something recently, if it was Crown Vic or Prospect Hill or somebody, and I was like, oh, they're still doing stuff. Cool.
Yeah. Prospect Hill's still playing.
Yeah. See, I didn't. That must have been the band I'm thinking of then, because I'd seen something recently and I was like, oh wow. And I had seen Adam at somewhere, but I didn't realize the band was still active, and I was like, that's great. I'm glad. I mean, I felt kind of like, how did I not know that? But then again, it's like I'm in this weird position where it's like, I'm of the scene but not in the scene, or I'm in the scene but not of the scene. How would that work exactly? You know what I mean? Like I'm still a part of it, but I'm not really a part of it.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. Well, I mean, again, this is, I want to take a second to thank you for doing this. I mean, local bands, anything for free is that's the you're not going to not jump on that. To provide free promotion to local bands is amazing. So thank you for being able to do that.
Absolutely. Glad to do it.
I'm seeing a lot more, places jumping up, a lot more podcasts and internet radio stations that are coming back.
Yeah.
Which is very exciting. So hopefully, we can just continue to build the network and, get people talking about local bands again.
Absolutely. There's so much great talent around here.
It's incredible. And to people out there listening, if you haven't, go to a local show, pick one. Pick one, reach out to one of the bands and see what genre they are. See if you might dig it. There's something out there for everybody right now,
True.
And there's a lot of talent. There's a lot of talent and a lot of bands working really hard to put on good shows.
We should mention too, I'm not this is not the only show that also spotlights local music here. I don't know if you're familiar with, do you know Rob Azevedo?
Don't believe I do.
You'll probably meet him at some point. He does a show also called Granite State of Mind.
Okay.
But he's been doing it for a long time too.
That's awesome.
And you should connect with him
Okay.
So he features a lot of really great local music. And he has bands come in and play with the shows that he does at Pembroke City Limits, it's like he can have a full band come in, do a full set electric and here in studio, we kind of keep it acoustic because it's not, this room isn't really designed for a full loud band. But so Rob does a lot. And you're right. I mean, there's a lot happening, and again, with the internet too, I think it's easier than ever to put things out there. It's just a matter of finding ways to cut through the noise.
Yeah.
I mean, in terms of that, and we kind of talked about that, cutting through the noise with music, but with the musical projects. But as far as promoting the shows that you do, I mean, how do you figure that part out? How to cut through the noise if you're promoting a specific event? And again, you've got there's a million other things online that you've got to compete with. I mean, do you have a way that you approach that, or without giving away any trade secrets necessarily?
Yeah, I'll believe no. I'm not doing really, maybe it's part of the problem, not doing too much original,
right?
But I mean, still something that I'm working on figuring out, building that network.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of connections with bands and still trying to get the view out to the broader audience.
Yeah.
Part of what I need to start doing more of and making more time for is, again, getting out to shows.
Mm-hmm.
Getting out to shows, getting FaceTime with people, and meeting them face to face, letting them know what I do.
Yeah.
And then just trying to network with other industry, opportunities, radio stations, production companies. I've fairly big long-term plans.
Mm-hmm.
But, once the booking starts to catch on, I have no shortage of things I want to do.
Yeah.
It's just finding the time and being able to do them effectively.
Yeah.
So the promotion has been difficult. Not something I've really done before, and kind of just putting stuff out to the internet audience is I got to find more creative ways to do that because get some visibility, but definitely local turnout has been a bit of a challenge.
Sure.
So I think I got to do some more targeted promotion within where I'm trying to have the shows and work with local recreation departments and communities and stuff to help get the word out. Obviously Facebook is one of the biggest tools. There's a lot of groups on Facebook that are pretty big.
True. Yeah.
That you can post stuff to, but everyone else is using it too.
Right.
Just having really nice, clean looking flyers. I have my own, kind of branded design. My wife is an amazing graphic designer. She does for her job. And
cool.
Been nice enough to help me out in that regard. So she's kind of my graphics and marketing expert. So that's just the first part of it is I kind of have my branding down.
Yeah.
And now just trying to get that visible.
Oh, yeah. Gotcha. We do have a call.
Hi, Maddie. It's Gary. Very impressive guest you have.
Thank you.
Very nice. Very nice.
I really like the workings of behind the groups. Mm-hmm. He's very impressive. Very, very well spoken on things too. I really appreciate you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate
Because
that.
I had a couple of friends who had a couple of bands, and I can't play guitar or anything. Like I was a brass instrument person, and I used to do a lot of sound for them. And they said, "Well, we can't pay you." I said, "You don't have to pay me. I'm a musician. I love music. Just buy me a soda and a burger, and I'm happy."
There you go.
And just promote them. And I promote them all over the place. Like my old neighbor, Tyler Ruggiero. He was on. I got him to go on Azevedo's show, and he was kind of shy about it, and he's good. And now he has. He's doing his own thing, and he's got. He joined a group called Nostalgia Lane, and they're going to be playing at. They're going to play at the Shaskin this weekend. So. I got him out there, and I promote any musicians because there's a lot of talent around here, and no one seems to really know it, and of all genres too. So
do you know them, Sam? Nostalgia Lane.
Very impressive guest,
Gary. So that name's very familiar. I think I have an idea of who that is, but can you tell me what their project is? I don't want to misspeak and say there's something they're not.
Nostalgia Lane.
Yeah,
they're doing all covers now.
Yep. Are they doing Foo Fighters covers?
They're doing everything.
Okay, everything. It's probably not the same band, but it's a band I know that a few people from some area bands, one from Manchester, that they are forming a Foo Fighters cover band.
Tyler was doing his own stuff. He's doing like some, and he's got some other. He does some projects on his own now, and he works. He has a job. He's an electrician, but I promote him because he's a real good singer. He's going to try to teach me how to play guitar.
Nice.
I'm an old fart, so I can just see that. But he's out there, and he was kind of afraid to go out, but I promoted him.
Yeah,
because I love music.
Yeah,
Maddie knows I love music. So
yes,
and but he's out there doing good, and like yourself, promoting. Like I said, I sang when I was a kid. I'm not out there to, or sing in a band. I'm too old to do stuff like that. But I just love promoting music for everybody. And we have so many talented people, like I said, so many talented people.
Absolutely.
And they just, they got to get the word out there. They go to Shaskin, they play the Shaskin, or they play, different places. He's going to finally play there. That's like one of his top lists, because he usually goes to, what's the place, the Goat or whatever he plays. He plays there once in a while.
Yeah.
But he plays, his genre of music is kind of like country, but not twang country. And Nostalgia Lane is all, they're doing a lot of, their project right now is doing a lot of different songs, different covers of all different bands, but it's rock. It's not just, but yeah, I think they're doing some of that stuff. But he's going to be playing at the Shaskin Saturday night or Friday night at 9:00. So.
Oh, okay,
nice. I'm sorry, I had to promote it a little.
No, thank you.
Sorry,
Gary.
Maddie.
No worries. No, that's good. That's good.
Well, I just want to promote a little. But yes, I'll let you go. Fantastic. Fantastic people. Maddie, I love the show, and I love when you got to talk behind the scenes of bands too, and how the workings of like that work. So
cool. Well,
but excellent person. Great show today. So
all right. Well, thank you, Gary. We appreciate it.
I'm a cheerleader. So.
Awesome, man.
And as always,
Gary,
I love you, Jenny. So, and I love you, Matt. So
feel free to reach out on Facebook, man. I'd like to connect and talk some more.
Oh no, I'm an old fart. I don't have a computer.
Well, people who can find me now, so we'll make it happen.
I do smoke
right?
signals.
There you go.
I'll keep my eye out.
I can do smoke signals. Yeah.
All right, Gary. Well, thank you for the call, my friend.
Right,
we appreciate it.
Love you guys, and fantastic show.
All right, thanks, Gary.
Have a great night.
All
Bye
right,
bye.
thank you. You too. Bye bye. All right, very nice. That was our friend Gary. Yeah, Shaskin, that's a nice room.
Yeah,
I've always liked that place.
Yeah, I've seen a few shows there. Hoping to work with them at some point to get some shows and you get some bands in there.
Yeah.
Trying to increase my venue network as well. My other biggest obstacle other than promotions now is getting dates to book bands.
Yeah.
A lot of venues either have somebody on staff or they have their own process or whatever.
Yeah.
Or I might be booking genres that they're not interested in. Or,
Right.
So that's been a little bit tough. Speaking of shows, and we're running a little bit out of time here, but so I got 2 shows coming up next week. One of the main reasons I wanted to promote. I've been working with the Strand in Dover, New Hampshire. So along with Strange Attractions booking, it's Matt and Ty from Novikoi. For those that don't know, we're pretty much almost every Friday. This year we're getting in local bands.
Cool.
3 to 4 bands showcase, all locals. Trying to make create those spaces for them to play and be featured on.
Yeah.
The owner Dan has been really great about helping us get in there too. It's the Strand is a nonprofit and
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, and he's got a really great mission over there. Kind of aligns with a lot of what me and Strange Attractions Booking are trying to do.
Oh, cool.
To feature local bands. So he's got dedicated time for us over there.
Excellent.
So next Friday, it's April 21st. We've got Prolium is headlining. They're out of Portsmouth with Echoes Fade, Trading Tombstones, and Hobo Wizard. Hobo Wizard's been putting in a lot of work. Love
Wizard.
the name. A bunch of cool guys. I'm looking forward to meeting them. They've been playing everywhere. They're making a big name for themselves right now, which is nice. And then so that's doors are at 6, show at 7 p.m. $10 at the door. Come on down, and it's next Friday. And then Saturday over at the Rockingham Ballroom in Newmarket. I've got the Jerry Tones are headlining with Marvel Prone, the Turbo Cats, who seems like kind of a newer band on the scene, and then Indoor Friends, a band out of Massachusetts, Boston area that's been playing a lot of shows as well. I've been trying to get them on a show for a long time now. So
cool.
Yeah, so that one is going to be doors at 7, show at 8, also $10. So Rockingham Ballroom in Newmarket. So hope to see you guys there.
Excellent. And before we run out of time too, where should people go? Do you want to keep up with all you're doing in terms of shows? Is there a website or a social media accounts we should know about?
So my main main spot is always forward NH on Instagram.
Okay.
Instagram is the one I keep up to date most. They Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok like to go back and forth with what you can share to each.
Yeah.
They make it hard when you wake up one morning and you can't share to one that you used to be able to anymore.
Yeah.
I was like, that's not cool, but okay. Because that's a full-time job in itself, is doing the social media stuff. But yeah, so Instagram has my Linktree link on there too. So that's got all the stuff. Linktree is decently helpful for at least a landing page if you don't have a full website. But yeah, always forward NH on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok.
My dad is in the Facebook live chat, and he says Hobo Wizard's been putting in a lot of work.
Yeah.
My dad lives on the Seacoast,
nice.
And he's hipper than me when it comes to music. He listens to WUNH. He loves college radio.
Yeah.
I love college radio too, but he's in his 70s, but he loves hearing new music.
Yeah.
He's not like how most people, they get stuck like. It's different for everybody, but like people hit a certain age and then it's like they don't want to hear anything new past that. Yeah. And my dad's never been like that, and I'm not like that either, obviously. So maybe it's genetic. I don't know, but yeah, you wouldn't catch my dad listening to oldies. You know what I mean?
No,
he loves hearing new music. It's awesome. Yeah. He's very supportive that way. Also, too, before we run out of time, your bands.
Yep.
We should.
House Lights is my main project. You can find us House Lights on Instagram, Facebook, Spotify. I think you'll have to search The House Lights.
Oh, okay.
There was a band that beat us to the name, but it's like some sort of like house DJ or something.
Oh, really?
So it's very different. And because of Spotify's like regulations, there's a track that's on our Spotify homepage that is that band, and we can't remove it.
Oh no,
Matt's
really?
tried a whole bunch of times and they won't let us remove it. So ignore that one. But back in 2014, we had put out an EP called Stages EP. 7 tracks about the 5 stages of grief.
Oh, wow.
So it was a concept album that we did. And then just didn't really, kind of came and went. But yeah, so we've all reunited again for the new project. And, we're looking to stay this time and start playing out some shows, hopefully later this year.
Any ETA, by the way, on the album?
we're still looking at, we got to get it mastered, and we're still looking at potentially doing some videos around these
cool.
few singles that we're going to release.
Yeah.
So I would say late spring, early summer as a tentative release.
Okay.
And then Astronomist, you can find us at, I believe it's Astronomist on Instagram. This is Astronomist on Facebook.
Okay.
And if I'm wrong, then just type in Astronomist. We have a gorgeous new logo that we got on there from a graphic designer over in Europe that we're pretty pleased with. And if you're having trouble finding them, just go to my Instagram. I've got my personal one. I'm at Sam Sings and Screams on Instagram. So that one links to both the bands.
Cool. By the way, Love and Understanding, had that been played on the radio yet?
Nope.
So we had 2 world radio premieres.
Yep.
Awesome. We love it. We love it. Sam, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, Matt. I appreciate it.
This has been wonderful. Sam Beachard, thank you again so much.